Mis corazonzones. I'm Gata. I'm an executive producer, reggaeton historian, o sea, the culture's favorite reggaeton historian, lecturer, entrepreneur, and recording artist. And this is Reggaeton con la Gata. This is a space where I'll be interviewing artists on culture, music, politics, and sometimes we even get personal. Y aquí estamos en flow Spanglish. No es que yo no hablo español, it's that this is the language that best reps US Latinos. Pues aquí estamos. Every week, right here, make sure to tap it. Dime mis corazonzones, it's Gata. And you know what time it is, episode 46. I'm late. I'm so excited because this is a really good conversation with my homegirl, Victoria La Mala. We met a couple of years ago online. Literally, it was just real, recognize real. I gravitated towards her. She gravitated towards me. Bing, bam, boom. And I cannot believe that we actually never met in person up until last year. I blame COVID and honestly living 3,000 miles away, right? I keep escaping to the Caribe, and that's not helping the situation either. But we've been really good friends over the years. Just two women in this crazy Latin music industry, seeing everything for what it is and sharing experiences just based off of just supporting women and being nice people. Mi gente, this conversation is a good one. And ironically, if I was to add my little 2 cents before we get right into it, we all know that Premio Lo Nuestro just passed by. And you already know what I'm about to mention. Tokischa. Tokischa took everyone's breath away on that pink carpet by sporting the Little Kim look. For those of y'all who are like, what are you talking about? Little Kim during the MTV VMA, si no me equivoco, years ago, I don't know the year, sorry y'all, I'm running off of memory here. But she sported, styled by Misa Hilton, this beautiful purple ensemble that left, you know it, una tatica afuera. Una tatica no mata a nadie, mi gente. But no, that was obviously controversial at that time. And then it's been a look that's been replicated time and time again. Nicki Minaj did it, Miley Cyrus did it, countless celebrities have done it. And it's always like a nod to like Little Kim, to Misa Hilton. But all this, honestly, it's also a nod to just like this whole idea of like free the nipple. Mi gente, I want to know why in 2026 una tetica hace tanto daño, mi gente. Like a boob can exist in a bra, can exist, forgive me, in someone's mouth. It can exist sexually when it's used that way, but just existing, just like staying out there, es un problema. No, I know, yo sé que mucha gente está escuchando esto, like, okay, pero gata, vamos a ser sincera. Lo que Tokischa hizo fue muy vulgar. It was so vulgar. Why must we be so vulgar? I would say that definitely with Tokischa, like, the way she sported it was, like, in a way that pushed the envelope even more because her cover was of the same color of her actual nipple. And I'm like, oh, shit. That was like a bold take on it. I'm sorry, I'm amused as hell because like doing that in the Anglo space is one thing, but doing it in Latin, otra cosa. I will emphasize it again. As much as Latinos are often, marketed as being super sexy and like super like open and this and that, Latin America is conservative as fuck, bro. It's super conservative. And like, if we're gonna be for real, she turned heads in ways that like it's as if Little Kim did that in the 70s. That's just how far behind culturally Latin America is in regards to the quote unquote feminist movement. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer the question. And this relates to my conversation with Victoria because, we are two very different women. Like, Victoria's super religious. I'm not. I love God, but I'm not religious. You will not catch me in church on Sunday. I do love God though. And that's okay. ¿Qué te digo? We're two very different women. We come from two very different sides of the industry. She does traditional Mexican music with her flair. Victoria La Mala ran so that Peso Pluma could walk. Lo que sabe, sabe. And, I work in Caribbean music, which is primarily dembow, dancehall, reggaeton. We're on two different sides. Historically, those two sides have not liked each other. This whole Kumbaya Fest is really a recent thing. I love it. I love it. And on the note of like Tokischa, just her like exemplifying this autonomy, pushing the envelope, being completely her. Like Tokischa doing that did not surprise me. If someone else did that, I'd be like, oh. But like Tokischa did that, I'm like, bro, it's Thursday. Like, es otro día. No es tan de que. So yeah. Anyway, I know that there's someone out there who's looking at that and they're like, that was just not appropriate. I see a lot of words, right, online. It's not appropriate. Is this empowerment to y'all? Some people are quoting Gabrielle Union. Did you get the likes? Did you get the shares? Did you get the likes? And I just want to say to everyone who's like, why did we need this? I think we need this because we live in a world where women are often told when and how we can claim our sexuality. If it's for the gaze of a man, oh my God, yes, like as if we're a prop. But like when we do it for ourselves, it's like, oh my God, how dare she? Que tiene ella? You know what I mean? Like it has to be functional and on the lines of like a man. And to that I say no. So I'm not saying que todo mundo tiene que sacar un tetica afuera. I'm not saying everyone needs to like freeze a nipple right now and in every moment and like, but like I just think symbolically what she did and the conversation she started, I just think it was dope. And that's my take on it. Let's see. With that said, on the note of hearing from the perspectives of two women who are very different, but who find so much solidarity and friendship in it of each other, te presento mi conversación, mi entrevista con mi gran amiga, the one and only Victoria La Mala. Dime de mis corazonzones, yo soy Gata, la favorita, and I'm excited. I'm always excited because I'm here with my homegirl. You guys know her as Victoria La Mala.
Hi, girl. I'm excited to be here with you. It's been a long time since we've done this, so I'm very, very happy to see you right here.
Te quiero mucho. Victoria, how you doing?
I'm doing great, busy between the mom life, the housewife life, the artist life. So it's a lot in my life right now going on, but I'm very happy. I feel like I'm in a place in my life where I haven't felt this peace and this fulfillment, I guess, of my soul in a long time. So I'm just happy.
For what it's worth, te ves divina. Handling it well and you look great. For those of y'all who are listening, me and Victoria, we met a long time ago online in las redes, and then we had the joy of being on a panel together for Univision, I think it was. And it's been up from there. This is one of my homegirls. I love this girl to death. A lot of just like genuine energy and love that I always feel radiating from her. So I'm super excited for this.
Igualmente.
I know, girl, I know. So dime, Victoria, I really want to get into like culture with you because like you're one of those who like gets it, So cuéntame un poco de tu historia. I know your story, but for those who are listening, like where did Victoria La Mala start? How did you get onto this artistic lane? Why music? And why your style? I know that's like a 4-part question.
Yeah. Well, I was born and raised in Mexico City. A lot of people think I was born and raised here in the States, but I was actually born and raised in Mexico City. Mi papá en paz descanse era de Culiacán, Sinaloa, the birthplace of banda music. And my mom's from a small town called Tonaya in Jalisco, where mariachi is, like it. So, since I was little, I love music. My mom sings. A lot of my mom's grandpa side of the family sing. They love music. My mom actually lived in LA, met Juan Gabriel. Juan Gabriel signed her to do a record. She moved to Mexico City, and then she ended up meeting my dad and just having kids and just kind of saying, you know what, let me just have my family. But then I was born, and I guess it was passed on to me because I remember since I was a little girl, I just love music. I was always that girl in the school choir, doing the solos and whatever, like performance in school. And I was very, very blessed that because my mom knew that, and the love I'm passionate for that. My mom was like, okay, once you finish high school, I'm going to let you try and let you, because, a lot of parents are not like that. So I was just very blessed that my mom was like, okay. So then at the time, I was going to my senior year of high school. And then a few months after high school, I was going to like an art school that Televisa used to have at the time. I don't even think the school exists anymore because it was based on music. I think now they still have the acting one, but the music one is gone. But we were doing little showcases and, little mall performances and things like that. And then I got an opportunity to go to New York to do a few performances there. And girl, honestly, I look back and I'm like, I'm crazy. But I was young and I was hungry. I have never been to New York. I had come to the States my whole life because my mom was the one that went back to Mexico. So my grandparents and all of my mom's family was out here in California. But I had never even been to New York. I took a plane and girl, never went back. I went, to New York and I was doing these shows and I was focusing more on like R&B music. I mean, I grew up in like the 90s, early 2000s R&B vibes, and that was my thing inside my room. Outside of my room, it was like mariachi, banda, norteño, Juan Gabriel, Vicente Fernandez, all that stuff. But for me, because I used to see my aunts in California, I listened to hip hop and R&B and soul, and like that's my thing. So once I moved to New York, and I was doing these performances and singing R&B songs and a little bit of Selena because I always loved Selena. I don't know, something in me was like, no, I want to sing Mexican music. Maybe because I felt far away from my home, from my culture. Something in me just kind of switched, and I was like, maybe I should just mix the two sides of me, the R&B, hip hop, soul, and their traditional regional Mexican music that is in my blood and in my parents' blood. So that was kind of like where my journey started. In New York, at the time, I feel like now it's 15 years later, so it's a little bit different. But at the time, there was very few Mexican clubs out there. Most of them were in Queens. And I would go and do little performances here and there with banda, but always dressed the way I'm dressed now. And people used to be like, you can't do that. Like, you gotta dress up how everybody else dresses up. And I would be like, no, this is me. So little by little, I started performing, and then I eventually had an opportunity to come to LA to do a reality show. It was like a contest where you would have somebody, it was called duetos, somebody that had already had a big hit in the like 90s or maybe even 80s, would pair up with a new artist. So I did that show and I ended up in the final. But by the time I got to the show, I had already recorded my first song on my own because no one even wanted to give me any kind of opportunities. At the time, I didn't even know I could write. So I thought, okay, what can I do that's going to give it like a new vibe? And I just thought, in New York, Caribbean women, Caribbean music, merengue, salsa, like they're it. Like everybody's listening to these women, out here in New York. So maybe I should go listen to them too. And maybe I'll find something that I can turn into my first song. And so I did it. YouTube was probably like brand new. I went on YouTube, looked up all these songs by these amazing women, and I ended up finding out a song called Ahora Soy Mala by Olga Tañón. And as soon as I heard it, I just knew, like, that's the song. So my mom helped me find a producer in Guadalajara, Mexico that did banda. And I just recorded Ahora Soy Mala. So by the time I came to that reality show in LA, I had my song recorded, one song only, in a CD. And one of the producers of the show happened to be in the radio here in LA. And he told me, I love this song and I'm going to give you a chance. And then if the people request the song, then we'll leave it. And I was just so blessed because I really believe that everything that happens is because of the Lord. That people started calling. at the time, the only woman in Mexican music on the radio was Jenny Rivera. So people were calling like, hey, ponme esa canción de La Mala. And that's how I ended up being Victoria La Mala, because of that song, Ahora Soy Mala by Olga Tañón. And then I guess from there is when my career started, you know, that opportunity. But also me being proactive and saying, okay, well, no one wants to give me anything. What can I do to get closer to my goals? And yeah, I ended up moving to LA. I didn't win the show, but I was in the finals. And then I got an opportunity to record my first album. It was with Banda. But I was dressed completely different than any girl in Banda was at the time. Because to me at the time, that was what was giving me my swag, and my style was what's going to make me different than, you know, everybody else. Because I brought that New York, Mexico City style now to LA. So
would you say it was like chonga style? Like, how would you describe your style?
My style, I would say, was a little bit more urban, but a little bit also like I would wear like gloves, like black gloves, so a little bit like rock and roll, I guess, to most people. But I would see girls in New York wearing that just as fashion, and I thought, oh, that's cool. So it was a little bit of the New York street style, you know, urban fashion, and people were like, wait, you can't sing banda that way. But I was like, this is me. So I did it in moves. And then a few years, I was just, you know, putting out music on my own, independently. And then finally in 2016, I got signed. And it was like, my dream is coming true. I'm getting signed to a major label. And it happened in ways that were even crazier than I ever imagined. You know, Rock Nation, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Romeo Santos, all these people that I looked up to were, you know, telling me, hey, like, come over here so we could do your album, and we love what you're doing. And that's basically how it started. But I would say the second round, right, when I finally got signed. And then from there, well, it was amazing. I learned a lot, but it was also really hard because it was hard for me to make people understand the vision that I had, which was the mixing of I guess the traditional regional Mexican rancho life and culture with the urban city vibes and swag, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was really hard because this was 10 years ago and no one had done it, and it was sometimes hard for people to understand, like, how could we do it? No, you gotta do it the way that it's been done, you know?
Yeah. Y'all hear that? Victoria La Mala ran so Nathaniel Cano and Peso Pluma can walk.
I love Nathaniel. And I love Peso Pluma. I love both of them.
This is not beef. This is not beef. This is me talking shit. Victoria didn't play it. I said it.
No, I love them because let me tell you why I got that. Because once, a long time ago, once I saw something that said, if your dream was gonna be accomplished basically by someone else, you shouldn't be upset because that was your dream and you're seeing it happen. So for me, seeing them get the Mexican music at the level that I always dreamed of, I'm like, they did it. And yes, it was hard for some of us that came before them, but they did it. So now we're here.
I see. This is one of the reasons why I love you. Like, that's such a humble thing to say. That's such a humble thing to say. And I feel like I relate to that, not in the artistic sense, because Yo Soy Buena Bebé, I dropped that song 9 days ago. Like, so many things right now about this path that I'm on, like learning. But as a historian who has been in the game, next year Reggaeton turns 10 years old, which is crazy. Crazy, that's insane. But no, as someone who I did pioneer the storytelling path of reggaeton, sometimes I do see things happen. I'm like, you know what? sabes, like, I have a gift for you. Tú sabes,
Yeah.
first under my belt. And, like, at the end of the day, like, culture doesn't start and end with me, but the best curation does, but I can't hold it. Mis corazonzones. We'll be right back right after these messages, así que no te muevas. Pero sí, no, corazón, thank you for telling your story. I'm chewing on so many different pieces of like what you just said. I think that's like really cool how like you were trying to authentically find yourself and figure yourself out and say yes and say no. And 10 years ago, isn't that like crazy? Like just to say that out loud?
Insane, because I feel like COVID was like 2 years ago.
Bro, literally. I'm like 6 years ago. Get out of
I
here.
know.
Think COVID is closer to being a decade ago than it is to being
How?
crazy.
Insane.
That's crazy. So, este año voy a cumplir 32, pero siempre digo, it took away 2 years. So, voy para 30.
That's right, girl. Yo les digo que ya ni me pregunten, que the big reveal will be when I'm 60. Like, when you see the 60 balloon. Antes de eso no me pregunten, okay?
I'm with it. I might have to adopt that. Oh my God. And speaking of 2016, I have Spotify open. I scrolled all the way to the bottom. And I see Love Yourself Spanglish Remix. And then I see Vete Mucho. I know this is giving you TBT, Throwback Thursday.
Yeah.
And I see Si Va a Doler Que Duela.
That's right.
I just love that as like, even as a phrase. Si va a doler que duela.
Que duela.
Merezco mucho más. Corazón valiente. One thing that even in the like titles of your songs, you're so passionate about just like, it's like you write a bunch of emotions on a piece of paper, you rip up the pieces of paper, you throw them in a bowl, you shake it up, and then you pull one out. That's how like it feels to like read the titles of your songs. They're like, there's so much passion even behind the title, never mind the singing and everything else. Talk to me about that, because that to me is like your signature. You know, like when I listen to your music, I'm like, okay, que me prepare.
Saca el tequila y prepárate bien.
Because I'm gonna get into my feelings. But like, I love that. And I feel like it's becoming more and more rare tell me how you feel about this. I feel like that's becoming more and more rare now in a time where people are chasing the high of a viral hit instead of giving something that can stand the test of time. What's your thoughts on that?
I have so many thoughts on that. It's something that is a little bit hard for me because, like you said, I'm a very passionate person and I like to put my all into, what I do. Like I do it because I love it. I don't think that if I loved it as much as I do, I'd still be here. I would have already been like, let me go over here, because it takes a lot, But for me, in that sense, I'm old school. I mean, a lot of people have told me, hey, you need to be putting out music like more often. The times are different and I get it. But for me, it's what you said. Like, I rather put out quality versus quantity. And I want to be really passionate about what I'm putting out there. And I want to give my all to like those releases. You know what I mean? I don't just want to put something out and see, okay, it's cool. At the same time, I do understand that times are different now than 10 years ago when I got signed. But I feel like sometimes it's better to wait and put something out that you love, that, like you said, stands the test of time. And at the end, I mean, I feel like that's kind of like also like my legacy, I'm leaving behind. So I want to be more intentional, especially now. I don't know, being a mom changed me in so many ways where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it this way and I'm going to wait for this and I'm going to do it right. Like people always tell me, just put it out. But I personally, it's hard for me to do that. I always like to think about, visuals and a plan and how we're going to roll out the music and for the music to be something that I love, because that's something I learned that as an artist, you have to love what you're gonna put out there, and then that's how people kind of like connect with you. So it's tricky because it's hard to find a balance. I think artists like me that we're kind of like starting our career where things were changing, sometimes we have a hard time with that.
Yes. I appreciate that. That's not easy to stick to. I can imagine the amount of people in your ears and the pressure on your shoulders. So just like, and that's something that, like, for me, we haven't spoken in a long time. For me, I fired all my clients, all of them. I used to work with artists, and I fired all of them. I love them all, but I fired them all. I'm like, I'm the only artist in my life going forward. Por lo más. And it was hard because I was giving advice that I'm now being forced to take, right? I'm like, Mina, just put yourself out there, just get on TikTok, just do the thing. And it's like, artists want to be artists, right? It's been like a big shift, right? Because artists now have to A&R themselves, right?
Yeah.
And artists have to now A&R themselves.
And develop themselves. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like being exactly what I was gonna say next. Like these little decisions that come in between en el desarrollamiento de un artista, like now it just falls onto you, because there's so many artists who have been able to figure it out. It's just a matter of like, that's now what the quote unquote competition is. Can you roll something else successfully next to fulano, or are you going to fall flat on your face? Never mind if the music's good. So it just...
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But something I learned when I was signed? Something that I learned when I was signed, and that looking back, the number one thing I learned is that you as an artist have to stick to your vision and to what you want to put out there. Sometimes people will get in your ear and tell you all these things, and some of these decisions that you make for yourself and for your creativity and your art might cost you some, like, I guess, visibility, or like some being viral or whatever. But I think that that's something that you as an artist have to decide, like, okay, what's important for me, and stick to that.
I appreciate that. And I want to move on to something happy, I swear. Yeah. Before I do that, because I want to take advantage of this moment, because I'm speaking with a woman who's intelligent, who is passionate, who knows herself, who knows her artistry, who knows what she wants, right? In an industry where, just as we've been speaking, there's so many people who can get in your ear and distort the vision or move you on a path that has nothing to do with you, right? And people who listen to this podcast, that I'm always saying, like, oh, for women, it's hard. And sometimes it's hard for me to give an example. Victoria, I love to hear from your words, like, speaking to women who are listening to this podcast, right? ¿Cuáles consejos darán a ellas? Because, being a woman is hard, but what does that look like, right? It means, like, people changing your course, right? It means people changing your vocals. It means people changing with the date. What does that mean, right? You don't have to be too specific, but what has that looked like for you, as comfortable as you're willing to share? Yes. Mis corazones. We'll be right back right after these messages, así que no te muevas.
Ok, yo creo que para mí sí ha sido difícil ser mujer en esta industria. Especially in regional Mexican music, at the time when I started, like I said, Jenny Rivera was the only female that was really like out there, like on radio and doing TV shows and winning awards. I think that as women, we also get judged a lot. I mean, to be honest with you, after I had my baby, there were literally people that are producers and work in the industry that were like, well, I wanted to work with you, but now you got married and had a kid. So like, that's done. So I'm like, oh, okay, great. So my value was not in just, yeah. So to me, it's kind of crazy, but I do feel like women, we do still need to push and fight, not only against, the image that they have for us, to put us in a little box as artists, but as women. I feel like a lot of people do still see us as like, okay, she's married, she has a kid, and she's over 30. And that's like damaged goods. Let's move on to the next. And I really think that's something really happening that's really messed up for women. But I think as women, we need to show and be like, that's what you could think, but let me show you what I'm going to do. You know, it's not easy, but I think that the most important thing as women is to know and realize that only us and God can stop us. That's how I see it. Like, no one can stop me other than myself and the Lord. Because if Jesus wants me to be done with this, eventually it will be done. But other than that, if I keep going, I'm gonna keep doing it, you know? And I think it's very important to always keep that in mind and to keep your vision in mind and to not compromise because you're thinking, oh, this is going to be a shortcut. Let me get in here real quick and then do it my way. I think that that's something that sometimes as artists we think like, oh, you know what, this person's telling me this and this is going to help my career. So even though I don't really think that's the way, let me go and do it to see how far I can get. I think that that's one of the things I learned in these years, that you got to stand up for yourself and for your vision. And as a woman, keep going. Because the only way that we're going to be able to break all these stereotypes and people holding us back is if we stop ourselves.
I appreciate the heck out of that, Victoria La Mala. Que Dios te bendiga. Because that's insane. Like, my jaw literally hit the floor. And where it's funny as hell that they say that to you, because who's touring right now? Cardi B. After just giving birth, how many kids that she has? I lost count. And she's been pregnant throughout the whole process. She's not escondiéndose. You know, and it's like, okay, I promise we'll get to something positive. It's just that's really crazy, and I feel like people need to hear this. It's insane, not just because they said that to you, but because it's part of this whole like dynamic of like parasocial relationship, in the sense of like, ¿qué carajo se cambia if you're like a mom or not? Like, at the end of the day, when you're in the studio, tú estás grabando música. It's like, la música se ha grabado sí o no. ¿Qué importa si existe un niño o un esposo o qué? Like, ¿cómo llegamos ahí? So it's like, ay Dios, this is like, it's son estupideces como esto that is why I took so long to release my own. I'm like, no, I'm gonna learn how to produce because no dumbass is about to tell me nothing. Pero it's like, for those who are listening, like, I just really want you to like listen to the weight of what it is that Victoria so, you know, graciously just said. And really hear like just how dumb shit can get, like on the path of women just trying to be great, especially with the resume she has. It's like, you're gonna take a chance on un nuevecito instead of someone who has this sort of discography. Está bien. If it exists, my God. And speaking of this discography, thank you again. Let's move on to something más light. The music, girl.
Yes.
I'm truly obsessed. Let me tell you something. I listen to all types of music. I'm not saying this because you're my friend and because you're here. I truly, when I listen to Mexican music, it's mostly my friends at this point. I love this. My playlist keeps growing. I keep meeting my artists.
I love it.
Adding them to the playlist.
I love it. I love it.
In specific, I think, okay, I'm like, where do I go? I'm so excited. Let's talk about these exciting ass features that you've had throughout time. You've had like a bunch, and it's like really impressive. From I'm like reading now, from Major to Alemán to most notably, and I can't wait to just say it out my mouth, like Chris Perez, Chiquis, Dios mío. But these are genuine friendships that you have. What are the stories? Like, how did these songs come about? ¿Cuál fue el proceso? ¿Quién tuvo la idea primero? Like, I just want to hear, like, what is the magic behind these records?
Mira, la canción con Chiquis, yo tenía la canción ya, yo la escribí con Claudia Brandt. And then Chiquis and I at some point had some kind of like dumb beef for a couple of years, and then we talked about it and we cleared everything out. And, you know, before we had our little beef, we were talking about doing a song, and then those couple of years happened, and then once we finally spoke, we said, okay, let's do this song. We gotta do the song now. And I told her, you know what, I think I have this song. So the song is called Sexo Débil, and it talks about how women get judged just in the world. And she loved it, and we just did it. It was really quick. Doing the video shoot was so much fun. It was really just like one of the most fun videos, honestly. So that was awesome. And then I'm gonna tell you a little bit about like Chris Pérez and Joe Ojeda from Los Vinos. Believe it or not, they called me. I was like, what? I have a publicist I work with that is in Texas, and she's worked with them. And one day she calls me, she's like, hey, can I give your number to Chris Pérez? And I literally thought she's joking because she knew how big of a Selena fan I am. And she's like, no, it's for real. And I'm like, okay, for sure. She's like, they want to start making your music, and they needed a female, and they thought of you. So I spoke to Chris on the phone, and then I flew out to Corpus Christi, and we worked from scratch. We wrote the songs, the music. I was there for a few days. And then I went back a few months later, and we shot a little video there too. And it was incredible to just be able to work with, you know, those legends, people that have inspired me since I was a little girl. I mean, to me, that has been the most insane part about being an artist, that I have gotten to work with people that I really looked up to. I mean, I told you the story about how I became La Mala, right? With the Ahora Soy Mala song by Olga Tañón. I ended up performing with Olga Tañón. I tell her she's my madrina, whether she likes it or not. So it's just been an incredible journey. I mean, I got to perform with Paquita, la del Barrio, you know, who's no longer here with us. But like, I sometimes look at those videos and I'm like, how did that happen to me? Like, this is crazy, you know? So I'm just very, very grateful. That's right. You know, but I just feel so humbled and so honored that these people that I admire so much, that had given me so much through their music, through their stories, now they're like, okay, you're cool enough to like come and like, you know, do something with us. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I think that's been one of the most incredible things about being in music, honestly, to be able to say, wow, look, I'm here now with the people I admire, and now we're making music.
Real recognize real, girl. Real recognize real. That's what that is. And I love that for you. And it just, nothing about it me parece como sorpresa or nothing. It just sounds like it just makes complete and utter sense, you know, because I'm telling y'all, like, I'm platonically in love with this woman. Like, I love you. The energy that she has it radiates just kindness and love. And I don't say that about everybody, but I will say that.
Thank you. Thank you.
My goodness. And one thing I love también about you and like your artistry, and again, we were talking about like these themes and your songs. They put me to the test also to lean in and to try to understand what's going on, because again, it's like caribeña. So, una pregunta para ti. Las Beliconas. Explícame el concepto, porque entiendo, pero a la vez I'm like on the line, like.
Mira.
Tuning in. Beliconas. ¿Quién es una belicona? ¿Qué significa?
Mira, una belicona es una mujer a la que le gusta la música bien así de corridos, tipo, como dijiste tú, Natanael, Peso, Pluma, los corridos que ahora les dicen bélicos, ¿no? Y yo fui al estudio y le estaba diciendo al productor, él me dice, ¿qué estás escuchando tú? Y le digo, ya sabes qué, you're gonna laugh, porque yo estoy en mi carro en los suburbios con mi niño in the back seat, but I'm listening to these like, you know, corridos, thinking, oh yeah, no, I'm like, bien belicona, and he's like, that's what the song needs to be about. So we did Beliconas, and I just, you know, I feel like I just wanted to have fun. I wanted it to be like an anthem for women that love that, like, the vibe, the Mexican music, the corridos tumbados, and I It's one of my favorite songs, to be honest with you. It's such a vibe, and I feel like the song is a little bit over a year old, but to this day, everywhere we play it, girls go crazy, and I love it. I love it because that's the vibe I wanted when we were writing and recording the song. And yeah, it's so much fun. Thank you. I think I'm at the point in my career, where I want to do music that makes me feel some kind of way, like vibes, not just like we said, music to like put it out. I wanna put music out that I love myself and that hopefully other people will love. But Beliconas is for sure an anthem, and I love the fact that it's my song. I love the fact that we wrote it and recorded it.
I'm obsessed. I'm literally obsessed.
I mean, you.
Seeing you gush like this, it's honestly reminding me of we touched on it before with like the difficulties in the industry, but in your personal life, and give me as much as you're willing to, like, you're a mom, she's a mother, she's a mommy, mamacita. Talk to me about the joy that has brought you, because you mentioned before, like, oh, it has changed you, claro, like, pues claro, but like, what ways were unexpected and that, it has positively shifted something in you? Like, what has motherhood done for you in ese sentido?
I'm like an emotional person, so I might cry here, y no sería ninguna sorpresa porque soy Victoria la Mala, pero soy una llorona. To be honest with you, I don't know. Being a mom has brought me a peace that I never had, like, in my life before. I think that my son brought so much peace in my life and showing me, like, the priorities in life, showing me how I need to take care of myself and I need to stand up for myself and I need to be able to pour in me to give, you know what I mean? I was talking to my husband about it and I was telling him that it's crazy because my son has healed me in so many ways and made me such a better person. And I think it's because I want him to see things that I wish I knew since I was that little, right? That I didn't learn maybe until like being confident, standing up for myself, probably until my mid-30s, to be honest with you. I'm just learning to say, hey, hold on 1 second, So I think that me thinking that I want to give him all those, I don't know if it's values or quality, transmitirle eso, me ha cambiado a mí para bien. Soy mucho más paciente. I was so impatient. I had so much anxiety. And I don't know why, I just feel at so much peace. Look, I'm stressed AF some days because I'm like, but really, like, in the deep level, I feel like a peace that I haven't felt in my whole adult life at this point in my life. And I really think it's because of my son, because now I'm thinking, okay, now it's not just me. Now I need to be an example and also help raise a good human being and a good man. Because I really think that if more moms are like, okay, I need to raise a good man, women would not be having such a hard time. And I think that that's why God sent me a son. Yeah?
Preach, girl, because it's crazy out here.
Right?
It's crazy out here. Every time one of my friends say, my husband, I'm like, right, there's hope out there in the world. People do get married. It happens. Because it's ghetto out here.
Girl, I know, trust me.
It's ghetto.
I'm married now, but I know.
I date both men and women, and everybody's on timeout. Nobody touch me.
You're like, ni uno. Ni a uno ni a otro. ¿Ne?
Everybody on timeout. Hold on. It's a little nuts out here. It's crazy because we're in a different time. That's something that, like, I'm an old soul. I'm gonna go ahead and call you an old soul too. I think, like, we think in a way that really celebrates the romantic fantasies that we were given in the 90s and 2000s music. That's like the soundtrack of our life. That's like the curation of our life. It's funny because people think like, oh, I'm so mean and whatever, and I'm like, no, y'all just be wrong on the internet and y'all don't like when I correct you.
But exactly, I know. So I'm just letting you know.
I'm just smart. I don't know what to tell y'all, but I'm a softie, and I often think like, I'm like, Diablo, like I know that there's someone for everyone, but sometimes I'm just like, like I don't know what to think. Like it's the pool is really bad, girl. This is
No, you know what I tell my friends that are single too? I'm like, no, look, I told you that I really believe in God, and I really think that sometimes God is just preparing you or the person that's for you, so because you guys cannot meet and make that match until you're both ready. Y en México decimos que de los madrazos se aprende.
Yeah. Girl, okay, wait, pause. This is so funny. Did you see that TikTok I posted a couple weeks back? I went viral because I posted a TikTok where I was like, when he did everything he said he was going to do in the messages, and then the next frame was like, me, yo sin pestaña, yo sin maquillaje.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. And then I was like, Viva Mexico. I moved to LA, comencé en Sinaloa, me fui para Guerrero, ahora estoy en City.
Comenzaste en Sinaloa, bueno, eso es empezaste con lo fuerte.
Dios. No, me estoy equivocada. Comencé en Michoacán, Dios mío.
Oh, también.
Qué risa, Dios mío. Sorry, Mom. No, but it's been a key. Dating. I'm not giving up on love.
No, you can't.
I can't. I'm trying to be protective of my heart. I am patient. God, you hear that? I'm very patient. Whatever you...
Yeah.
pero no. And speaking of protecting myself, and I know we gotta wrap up here. I've made like a...
I think we're gonna need to do a second part because you and I could talk, girl. Like I feel like this has been 5 minutes, but
I know, and I miss you so much.
Me too.
I can't wait to go back to West Coast. Pero no, speaking of protecting myself, this podcast has made like a major pivot. I can't believe this is episode 46.
Wow.
46. I'm like, wow, I've never been this consistent in my life. Thank you, iHeart. Pero no. Speaking of like, I've made a major pivot, a conscious one, because when this podcast first started, I like did like a batch of episodes of interviews. Yo hice como 20 entrevistas en un solo día durante los Latin Grammys and los Billboards. And I was just, airing it out. And then, as you see, this president of ours just started. You know what I mean? Like, it just, wow. This time last year, every day was like, what's he doing now? What's he doing now? And until this day, it's still like, what's he doing now? And so I bring this up because tuve que hacer un pivot because I couldn't just do like interviews on music. I'm like, I really need to start incorporating a conversation on what's going on in the world. Porque tengo una corazón, se supone. Like, I can't just like see what's going on and whatnot. And so, Victoria, there's so much going on. What has caught your attention? What message would you give to people listening? There's just so much going on, like what has been really pulling you on the heartstrings, and what words do you have for those who are listening? Mis corazones. We'll be right back right after these messages, así que no te muevas.
I mean, obviously, as an immigrant, that is something that has really been crazy to watch. But it's something that I wrote a song about in 2016, The Corazón Valiente song talks about this because ever since back then, they were saying, oh, no, families are going to be separated and all these things. And I'm just like, okay, that's just really something that's so deep and so unfortunate, because I truly do believe that most of us that come here, we come here for a better life for us and for our children, you know? So that's just something that I it's hard for me to even speak about it because it's so emotional, because it's so close to my heart, you know? And I think that we need to be looking out for each other. I think that the world needs more love, understanding, tolerance. I think we're living in crazy times, man. And I think that for me, something that has helped me stay a little bit like level-headed is literally praying and asking God to, I know this sounds so corny, but it's really true, to make this world a better place and to plant seeds on people's heads that could grow so people can also be tolerant and learn to understand each other. You know what I mean? To protect each other, to build that community. And obviously for me, seeing this whole thing, this is a little crazy, but this whole thing with the Epstein files and kids, to be honest with you, I can't even read some of these things because it's just horrible. Like, I'm like, what kind of world are we living in? That all these innocent people, kids, families that are good people are going through all these horrible things. It's just, I think those two things for me lately have been the things that are just like too much,
I appreciate you, bringing these two things up. I'm right there with you. It was, and that's why I had to make a pivot. I'm like, imagine having a platform in 2025, 2026, and then not saying nothing. So I appreciate your words. I wanted to give you the space to vocalize that. For me, as a historian, as just a human being, one thing I crave for the world is just for people to tap into what these crazy things are, because historically speaking, if we don't, we're doomed to repeat it. You know what I mean? Like, if the people who don't understand the history are doomed to repeat it. That's one of my favorite phrases. And things may be painful, but we can't tap out. I think we do need to engage in things that level us, right? For me, that's music. That's why I pivoted. I was like, okay, I'm disassociating. I need to drop my music. I need joy. But that doesn't mean I turn off my heart. It just means that I need to add things. As much as we consume things that chip away from us, we need to add things that bring us.
That feed your soul, yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate you saying that. I know that the Epstein files.
Girl, I can't even.
It's hard. I was trying to rewatch, in transparency, I was trying to rewatch because I think the first time I saw the documentary, I watched it and I was like, this is horrible. But now that we have the files, the actual files, and we can tie them to things, I tried rewatching and I was like, this is, it's just like those things that that happens, but now that there's tangible proof, it's insane.
Yes, I agree.
We're told our whole life from our parents, if you put your cup down, don't pick it back up. You know what I mean? Or no confía en nadie. Those things. But now we have actual
proof of why.
So strangely enough, in bringing it back up to a positive point of what you brought up before, kudos to you for consciously raising a child who will be conscientious enough to respect women. And PSA, yes,
better. I'm like better.
I think people needed to hear that, truthfully. It's why I asked you that, because a lot of people are like, why, how, where? And it's like, Mira, somebody raised that person, somebody said that was okay. Every Women's History Month I go viral because I was like, I don't support all women. Some of you bitches are dumb. But it's the truth. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, nothing's a mystery. Everything's in front of us, and it's a matter of If we want things to be different, then we gotta be different. Then we gotta like push for different things. We have to advocate for what we actually want and what's right, you know? So thank you for doing your part. Yo, those who are listening, do your part. And yes, maybe, you know, we can have a better world. And I don't think that's crazy. I don't think that's corny, you know, because it only comes with change hearts, you know?
And I think that sometimes we're human. We all make mistakes. I've always said it's okay to fuck up. What matters is what you do after that.
Exactly.
So I think that we can all just, you know, get right. And I think, like I said, I think the world needs more love and tolerance. And I think, honestly, I know this sounds corny too, but a lot of you guys need Jesus because we're in a world that's just really crazy. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, what is my son gonna see? You know, like the world is way crazier now than when I was growing up. But I also hope that, you know, us raising the future generations, we can plant those seeds in them so that the world could be a better place. I know this sounds so corny, but at this point in time, in this moment, it's history we need it. It's really true.
It's not corny. And for those who are listening, like, I don't do that. Okay, but like quoting Cat Williams, you gotta believe in somebody.
I believe in Jesus, but
just pick a higher being, please, because it's like, I don't know. We need to believe in something. Victoria, I can't thank you enough. I think I'm with you. I think we need a part.
Yeah, no, Gata, let me tell you, I gotta come back once we put the music out. You already heard one of the songs that's coming out soon. Yes. And we got so much stuff coming out. I'm working on a couple of different projects for EPs, and I hope that as soon as the music is ready, we can do it again and talk some more, because girl, I feel like this is just the beginning.
Claro, y en persona, so I can finally hug you.
También, sí, por favor.
Mi gente, this has been a wild ride, a good ride, but a wild ride with De La Mia Personal, Victoria La Mala. Show her some love and tell her I sent you. Mi gente.
Yes. Follow me, Victoria La Mala, anywhere you're at, I'm there, Victoria La Mala, okay?
Yes, this is Reggaeton con la Gata. Hasta la próxima. Chao. Mis corazones. You know what time it is. It's time para las flores. Reggaeton con la Gata is an Ahora Media production. Co-executive produced by Nuria of Chiquis Media. Shout out to my production assistants Naomi Acevedo and Kayla Eccleston. My composer, Javi Vibes. I'm your host and co-executive producer, La Gata. See you right here next week.